Hi folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. Today we're looking at this Ford F-250 Tremor Lariat. Now this truck brings together two things that frankly never came together in trucks before, and those are a luxury interior with serious off-road performance. And we're gonna go out there right now into the forest, into the snow, and see how this thing does. Powering our F-250 Tremor Lariat today is the 7.3 liter gas V8. This is the base engine for this truck. It makes 430 horsepower, 485 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through a 10-speed auto. And I should mention that in 2023, the engine here was updated to put out 10 extra pound-feet of torque compared to the previous version. Now the truck you're looking at here today has a lot of the chrome styling and that unique grille because it's a Lariat. And then thanks to the Tremor package, we have a 2-inch front end lift and then a much smaller air dam down below. So it definitely has a unique look to it. Now over here, one of the biggest upgrades on this truck has to be the tires. We're getting a set of 35-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratracs. Some other HD off-roaders now offer 35s, but this was the first one to offer us 35s from the factory. And you know what? Again, another update that came to this truck in the 2023 model year is Ford actually made it easier to fit 37s. A lot of people were putting 37s on their original Tremors and they were rubbing with the front control arms. And so for 2023, Ford came along and updated the truck to make sure you can actually fit 37s on there, which is pretty cool. As we go down the side, you see we do get this really nice coated step down here, and I like that it's tucked up quite a bit. So you know what, you can still use it as a step, but it's not going to get in the way once you head off-road. Let's take a look at the business end of the Tremor. So this has a 6-foot 8-inch bed on it and a couple of cool features in the bed. LED lights that are controlled by a button back here. Our truck is also outfitted with Pro Power Onboard, which is a pair of plugs in the bed, and that will use your engine as a generator to produce up to 2 kilowatts of power. That is a great system. Of course, Ford's classic bed step is still here. Still a really useful design for getting in and out of your bed quite easily. Now, the next thing I want to talk about are the towing and payload numbers. When it comes to towing off of the conventional hitch down there, you're talking about 18,200 pounds. The one number I want to dive into a little bit more is payload, because if you go on Ford's manufacturer website, they will tell you that an F-250 Tremor can have a max payload of a little bit above 4,300 pounds. But then you get this truck as it sits here today, which is a Lariat with a whole bunch of options and a crew cab, and this thing has a payload of just over 3,000 pounds, 3,050 to be exact. And the point I want to make here is you cannot trust payload numbers off of manufacturers' websites because those numbers are almost always based on the best case scenario. So they're going to take a truck that has no options on it, the smallest cab, the lightest engine, and then they're going to publish that payload number. So when you actually look at a vehicle in the real world, you have to check the sticker on your door jamb because that's going to tell you what this vehicle, once all the features are added on, can actually haul. So it's just another point. This is the case for every manufacturer, but I just want to drive that point home. Don't trust the payload numbers you read online. Trust the payload numbers that are actually on the door jamb. And now all that being said, 3,050 pounds for an F-250 Tremor is still a pretty respectable payload number. When talking about the luxury on this truck, I definitely have to mention the seats. First of all, they're extremely comfortable. I would actually say in the truck segment, Ford has some of the best seats going right now. They're just so supportive in every area of your body. So big fan of the seats, but these seats specifically have the max recline function. And yes, that's all about taking a nap in your truck. You very simply push the seat forward and then you recline the back. Now that's not unique. What's unique is you're gonna watch the cushion there on the bottom start to lift up and meet the back right here. So the key is when I actually go and lay down now, you end up getting good support in your lower back, which you don't normally get out of a regular seat. Just like that right there. It's all about what's going on down there in my butt and my lower back. You get that support. It's way more comfortable than just a traditional seat. And I could definitely take a nap here. And so I'm just gonna do that now. See ya. What are the off-road numbers? Well, ground clearance here is listed at 10.8 inches, approach angle up front 31.6 degrees, departure angle 24.5 degrees, and the final off-road upgrade I have to mention are the differentials. In the rear, you're getting a locker, pretty standard stuff, but up front, we have a Dana limited slip differential, which should help pull us through some of the slop. So I like that when you go over into off-road driving mode, the cameras come up automatically here, and there's your first view, and you get those predictive treads to show you exactly where your tires are gonna land, which is kind of nice. And we can go through all the views. So there's your overhead and that front view. The cool thing over here is you can actually zoom in on specific parts of the truck. So if you just want to check on that one corner, you can do that. Scrolling through, we get our Chimsel camera view looking down into the bed, especially important for hooking up a fifth wheel. There's your regular rear camera view, front wide angle. There's your hitch view right there. There's looking forward at your front tires. That one's looking back at your rear tires. Also looking back at your rears just a little further down. And then the final camera here is the auxiliary camera, which you could go stick on the back of your trailer. So loads of camera views here in the Tremor, and there's actually been more cameras added for the 2023 model year. So last year they added more of these. So not only are they here and they're great, but Ford realized on the original Tremor that it didn't have enough camera views, and now we have them here. Another technology feature I have to show you is the head-up display. So this is the normal mode, and I just want to say that not only is it a large head-up display, it's really crystal clear as well. It has different modes as well, so you can go over here to tow haul mode, and that will show you a different set of information. And then finally off-road mode, which has the inclinometer there and your four-wheel drive status, plus your steering wheel angle also changes on the head-up display. So yeah, tons of great information. And I really like that there's an automatic mode. If you set it to automatic, the head-up display will simply change to whatever the drive mode is. So if you have it in tow haul mode, the head-up display will change accordingly. Okay folks, off-roading begins now in the F-250 Tremor, and I do have to start with a bit of a negative. So the first thing I have to talk about are the conditions, especially important with winter off-roading. We don't have a ton of snow here. It hasn't snowed in a couple of weeks, and the snow that is sitting here has been beat down by the rain a little bit and quite a few warm days. So what we're left with is this really compacted snow. Now combine that with the fact that it was -6 last night and still -1 right now. Everything is rigid. It is absolutely rock hard, which is good for traction. But now let me get back to my original point, the negative. It's like driving through a field of loose rocks. So you'll see me bouncing all over the place. And here's the thing, everybody. This is not just a knock against the F-250 Tremor, it's every heavy-duty off-roader. It doesn't matter which one you get, the suspension is still pretty stiff. Comparing it to some of the half-ton off-roaders we have now, comparing it especially to the mid-size off-roaders, yeah, it does beat you up a little bit. And you can see me, I'm all over the place. So my point here is just to say, it's not really a knock against the truck, because the truck still has to be able to tow 18,000 pounds. So you can't make it soft like a marshmallow, it has to stay stiff. So my point, I like to bring this up in all HD off-road videos. Don't buy a truck like this if your main goal is to just go have fun on the weekends at the off-road park. Because when you're bouncing around on stuff, whether it's rock hard snow filled with ruts or a bunch of actual rocks, yeah, it's not that fun, and it throws you around, it beats you up. Slow speed rock crawling, you feel everything in this truck. Absolutely everything. So yeah, that's sort of the one big negative out of the way. And then just the size, right? These trucks are huge, so they don't feel very at home on a tight off-road trail like so many other of our off-road trucks do these days. So I just wanted to come bounce around in some of this super stiff snow to prove the point that while I would say the Tremor is more comfortable than a stock F-250 doing this, it's still not that comfortable. All right, folks, now we're out here on the trails. It's time to test this thing properly. I mentioned conditions already. The one thing I didn't mention is all the ice that forms on our off-road trails. Most of the things we're running in are, just mud pits basically, and over the winter, they get a thick sheet of ice on the top. So that also complicates off-roading, but it also makes it a little bit more fun too. So first thing we're gonna do is jump into a kind of smaller pit, see how it feels, and then we'll take it from there. I'm in off-road mode, which locks my rear end automatically. I should mention that too. And I'm in 4 high. Here we go. And ka-chunk. Well, that was easy enough. Broke right through that ice, no problem. And then chugged right through. So it's pretty much what I was expecting. But it's always smart to start with, a little obstacle off-road to kind of get a feel for it to try before you try the bigger ones. So right now, let's go try the ruts. They are iced over, snow-covered, offset ruts. And let's go see if the locker and the front limited slip can pull us through there. All right, here we go. Same mode, off-road mode. Rear end is locked. And the whole idea behind these offset ruts is to test your lockers, is to put the truck in a situation where all traction is put onto one tire, and that tire has to get power. But of course, right now it's extra complicated because the ruts are filled with water and ice. So this is a test of traction as well, big time on these Duratracks. So far so good. Creeping in. And right here is where it's gonna get tricky. Turn the parking sensors off. Wow, oh, so far, so good. It's creeping through. Oh, there's my first real slip. Slipping. Yes, I got big time lift there. Nice. So the slipping is important for that front limited slip to do its job. As it starts to slip, you can feel it start to bind up and engage, and then both of those front tires get traction, and it pulls you through. I was expecting that to be much more dramatic than it was, folks. That was impressive. Let me tell you, we've had a Tremor F-250 out here on a dry, totally nice summer day, and I was impressed. But yeah, coming through there, considering how icy that was pretty dang good. And the locker's important, but I really like that front limited slip. And now, folks, we're gonna try the Hydra Line. Maybe not the deepest section, but we're gonna do as much as we can, and it's definitely gonna get muddy and icy. There's been lots of standing water here, so I know the ice is here, but so far she's feeling great. So we gotta keep pushing on until we find something that challenges it. Here we go. Oh, and there's the first breakthrough right there. I'm in off-road mode, so my rear's locked. Oh, I'm absolutely broken through, and I might have just gotten miserably stuck. Oh, thank you, reverse. Whew, okay, well, I know what happened there. The ruts at this section are incredibly deep, but only on the passenger side. So my whole right side just sank down, and then I hit ice that wouldn't break. Okay, I'm gonna try to make it around here. Let's see if the Tremor can hop the ruts at all. Can you hop out of these ruts so I can avoid this deep, deep rut? Okay, here we go. Ooh, come on. Yes. Oh, no. Same thing. Folks, what's happening right now is some of the ice is breaking and some of the ice is not breaking, which is not good. That's it. Sometimes The ice is simply too thick, and when it will support an F-250 Tremor, the answer is it's too thick. So I can keep hitting this. I'll do it one more time, but it doesn't matter. It's just solid. Even when I was up here with the 4Runner in the infamous ice video, every time I hit the ice, I could actually feel it break. This time I'm not feeling that. And that time, I was actually even a little stuck in reverse. Uh-oh. I might be proper stuck this time, folks. I might be proper stuck this time. My tires are stuck in a rut. I can feel that. And I've got nothing in reverse. It wants to go. It's close. But here's an example of where I dove in a little too far. I think I'm proper stuck. I think I'm a bit turtled. And again, the issue in front of me is that the ice is so thick it will not break. So I'm just running into a wall, basically. It might already be time to admit defeat and go get the tractor. Let's hop out and take a look. I don't know if I'm turtled either, like if there's snow. Yeah, you can see there's snow up under the belly. So the belly is sitting on snow as well. And then I'm sure the differentials are sitting in the snow. Yeah, the whole rear diff is down in the snow. Battery still got juice, that's step one.
Nice.
Heating up the glow plugs. Well, there you have it, folks. We're out of the mud. The tractor did its job quite well. The key with getting stuck is you always need to have a bigger, heavier vehicle than the one that got stuck. And I guess, granted, I don't think the tractor's actually heavier than this thing, but it was plenty to pull it out. And to be totally honest, and I kind of felt this, the Tremor wasn't really like stuck down in the mud or anything. It was just turtled on the snow. The snow was so hard packed that the skid plates and the differentials were just sitting down in the snow, so the tires didn't have a chance to do their thing. And when I was going into that ice, I felt that. When I was actually touching the ground, the traction was great. Of course, the issue was the ice was way too thick, so it wouldn't break once we got that far in, and then I was turtled. So my point here is to say, it didn't need much of a pull. It really only needed a light tug to get those tires back on the ground and send it out of there. Now, you probably noticed I used soft shackles on the recovery on either end, especially on the Super Duty. It's always nice to use something soft rather than hooking a chain right onto metal, you know, metal on metal. But I did use chains, and now let me speak on chain recoveries for a moment. There is no doubt that using a chain to recover a vehicle is dangerous, more dangerous than other methods. The reason being, if that chain snaps under pressure, it's gonna fly and it will literally take your head off. I will not deny that, it's obvious. Chains are dangerous, but it has to be put into context. I knew that that wasn't gonna be a massive pull. It wasn't gonna be something that's, again, mired down in the mud. So it just felt like it wasn't gonna need much of a pull. And then the most important thing is, yeah, how you drive it. Just be aware. So when I first tugged on it, it was a super gentle pull just to see if we could move it at all. And sure enough, it kind of popped right out of there because, like I mentioned, we got it off the skid plate. So we use chains today because I mean, to be honest, that's the longest recovery method I have. And I didn't want to get the tractor anywhere near the mud. So we used 2 chains. It was maybe, I don't know, between 70 and 100 feet to actually get to the truck, and they worked beautifully. So I guess my overarching point here is straps are better. Kinetic energy recovery straps are the absolute best thing on the market. Chains, I wouldn't recommend, but it all has to do with context, and it has to just do with paying attention to your surroundings. If you're using a chain, don't just mash on it full speed. Take your time, and if you're like us with what happened today, yeah, that can be a perfectly safe and reasonable recovery method. And now we're out here at the left hook. And I gotta tell you, I am pretty nervous about it, folks. I think that probably goes without saying. So we're gonna do a little recon first. And if the ice is too thick, I'm not gonna dive in for it because it's way harder to do a recovery out here. So another important rule with off-roading, especially winter off-roading, get out and check it out before you dive in. Let's do it. Well, everybody, got out, checked it out. What can I say? The ice up there was so thick, it was supporting my weight. I'm not diving into another ice pit today. It's just too thick. Frankly, the fact that we are doing off-roading like this in February here on the property is pretty insane. Usually there's way too much snow even to do what we're doing. So we're not gonna get stuck again. At least I'm not gonna try too hard to get stuck again. But we still have lots more to show off about the truck. So let's do that now. The first thing I wanna show you is trail turn assist, because this is a huge deal on the Super Duty Tremor. This is a feature that drags the inside rear wheel in a corner to help you pivot around that corner. Now in a Bronco, it's excellent. In the F-150, it's good too. But I think it's most important on this F-250 because this truck is massive. It's 20 feet long. So especially out here on my tight forest trails, it's a big deal. So first thing I'm gonna do is this turn, 4 high, without trail turn assist. And let's just see if I can even make it. This is like a complete U-turn. And granted, I did cut her a little wide there because I was worried about the inside, but there's no chance that this truck is going to make that corner by itself. So now I'll back up into the same spot I just was. Okay, so we press our button down here, trail assist on, trail turn assist. And the key, or one of the keys with this feature, is you want a little bit of speed. The more speed you get, you kind of help it rotate around that tire. That being said, I don't want to slide into any trees, so we'll go medium speed. Here we go. And that tire will lock up right now as I turn the wheel. Oh yeah! Absolutely locks up. You can feel it dragging back there big time. But it makes all the difference in the world. It makes a significant difference coming around that corner. You just feel it swing real quick. Of course, it is going to chew up the ground wherever you're dragging that tire. But yeah, if you're on your own property or on off-road trails, who really cares? So yeah, trail turn assist, excellent feature on the F-250 Tremor. Well, you saw how well trail turn assist works. Now let's try the other tech feature here on the Tremor, which is trail control. That is Ford's off-road cruise control. You use the set button to select a speed, and then essentially you just let it do its thing. So I'm gonna set it at 3 kilometers per hour, and off we go. We're back here on Wall Street. Not the toughest trail, but the ruts have been getting deeper, and it's snow-covered and ice-covered. So again, I have my feet off the brake, off the throttle. This is all truck. Creeping me through. Oh, there's a rock. It's funny, when it hits a big obstacle like that, it almost comes to a dead stop. In that case, it did come to a stop, and then it gets back into the power. So the power delivery could be slightly smoother, but so far so good. I'm gonna come up to 4 kilometers per hour. That was the front brake assist. Okay, 4 kilometers per hour, here we go. So the other thing with this specific spot in the trail is it's really tight. This is one of our tightest trails. And this is another example where something like trail control is kind of helpful because I can hyper focus on the positioning of the truck, on where my mirror is in relation to this tree coming up here. I don't have to worry about modulating my throttle and my brakes. And that's sort of one of the big advantages to these systems, is it takes a lot of the thinking out of off-roading and allows you to focus on other areas. Oh, there's a bit of tire slip, the first bit we've had yet, as we break through the ice down there. Dragging a bit on the bumper. Oh, it's slipping. Nice, but actually when it slipped, it felt like it gave it enough throttle to actually get me up and out of that hole. So pretty good. I think the way it rolls on the throttle could be just slightly smoother, but it actually reacted really well in real time to what was going on the trail. So I say this pretty much with all of these systems. They're not that fun. Like, you don't want to use it all weekend long while you're off-roading. At least in my opinion, part of the fun of off-roading is driving the vehicle, all facets of the vehicle. But if you want to come through a tight section and focus on your mirrors, if you're new to off-roading especially, or yeah, if you just have a section that you're really nervous and worried about, trail control and all of these systems, they do work pretty well. And it's actually pretty incredible if you think about it, how far we've come with off-road technology, that the brain inside this truck can drive it off-road basically as good as a human can. Okay, folks, we are off the trails now. We had a great time out there in the forest, despite getting stuck. I mean, that's all just part of off-roading, right? So I did want to come on-road in this video, though, to talk about the luxury experience. The fact that we're in a Lariat Tremor, sort of an up-trim Tremor, means that a lot of the money you're spending isn't on the off-road stuff. It's on, well, like I said, this interior. So first of all, the choice of materials in here is great. Visually, this is a gorgeous interior on this truck, at least in my opinion. Now, when you do step up to Lariat, you're also getting a bunch of options, things like my head-up display and a B&O sound system. So you're also getting some actual tech upgrades as well. But yeah, we just live in an age where you don't have to compromise. You can get a truck that's incredibly capable off-road, but still has this gorgeous luxury interior. And then when you're driving on-road, it's basically a quiet, cruising, comfortable truck. Now, the one thing you notice about the Tremor, you can't get away from this, it's got big 35s, and especially Duratracs, they're loud tires. You can hear the tire noise coming through. If you swap out your rubber for other 35s, you might end up finding something quieter, but it's just something to note that stock tires on this truck, they are a little bit noisy. But outside of that, yeah, the way this HD drives is almost the same as every other F-250, which is definitely a point in its favor. Come on road, and it's just like another F-250. So yeah, we live in an age of less and less compromise. But I do have to point out that you do pay for that less and less compromise. This truck, as you see it in this video, costs $104,000 Canadian, and it actually has $17,000 worth of options. So a lot of that money is just the options, but even still, yeah, 100 grand for this truck. I'm not going to call it a good value. I will tell you, though, that it is an excellent blend of luxury interior with off-road credibility and off-road gear. Finally, let me leave you with a word on this Godzilla V8. That's what they call the 7.3 liter. You know what? Loads of power. I mean, over 400 horsepower in this truck. Feels excellent on-road or off-road. The low-end torque off-road was good. I didn't find myself wanting to put it into low range because it just, yeah, it felt like it had all the low-end power that I needed. So these days, there was a time when the gas engine in heavy-duty trucks was a bit of an afterthought, and you really only got it if you wanted to save money or if you wanted to get that really excellent payload. But outside of that, they just weren't compelling features or compelling engines. Those days are gone. This is a compelling V8, offers loads of power. So these days, rather than saying, you know, I would go for the diesel and then if you don't need it, get the gas, I go the other way around where it's like, get the gas and only get the diesel if you absolutely are towing heavy. And the beauty of Ford is they now offer the regular output diesel or the high output, so you can get up to 1,200 pound-feet of torque. But I'm here to tell you that the 485 pound-feet in this V8 feels excellent in this truck as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this video, and I think we've proven a few things. First of all, the winter will stop any vehicle, I don't care how capable it is. But beyond that, I think we've proven that this F-250 Tremor really can do it all. It's good off-road, it can still haul really good numbers, and then when you get it on-road empty, it's just a nice, quiet, comfortable cruising truck. Can't ask for more than that. So that's it for this one. Now please go below and let me know what you think of the F-250 Tremor and everything you've seen in this video. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a Truck King video. And hey, even hit the join button and become a member. And you better come right back here to the channel to see what we're testing next. See ya.